Welcome to episode 11 of the Tailgate Sports Podcast. We have a little bit of a mini episode today. We had one earlier in the week, but I wanted to talk about UFC 308, go over a couple matchups, give my picks, then give you guys a little NFL Week 8 parlay. The Chiefs made a big trade, and I would talk a little bit about the Lakers. The Kansas City Chiefs just traded for DeAndre Hopkins, and this is what they've needed with Rashee Rice going out and Isaiah Pacheco has been out for a bit. They needed another number one guy. They needed a guy for Patrick Mahomes to throw the ball to. For the last couple of years, he's proved he could do it without that number one. But this year is a little different. They don't have Rashee, and Patrick Mahomes isn't looking like himself this year. So he really needed that guy. And DeAndre Hopkins, even though he hasn't looked like himself, he could come into this offense, and this is going to rejuvenate him. He has guys who could take pressure away. He could take pressure away. He has the best quarterback in the NFL throwing him the ball. He could go up and get it. And this is just all in all a great move for the Chiefs. I think this move is them really pushing, and I think they really do want this three-peat. It's never been done before, but before the season started, Travis Kelce, don't let us. They really want this, and they're trying to stick with the standard of this team is going to compete for a championship every single year. And yeah, Patrick Mahomes hasn't looked himself, but bringing a guy in like DeAndre Hopkins who could get those contested catches, who could create space, this is going to be great for Patrick Mahomes, especially with his skill level. He could hit him with great passes and put it in his vicinity, and DeAndre Hopkins is going to come down with that ball. He's going to feel a lot more rejuvenated coming to a team with championship aspirations. It's been a long time since DeAndre Hopkins has been winning, so I think he is ecstatic for this trade as well, and this is going to be something to see with Patrick Mahomes having a real wide receiver one. UFC 308 is this weekend, and there are some bangers, and I'm going to go over a couple matchups. Magomed Ankalaev versus Alexander Rakic. Magomed, this could set him up for a title shot. With Alex Pereira just coming off a fight, if he gets this one, I think this will set him up for a title shot. Rakic, he's no slouch, though. He is coming off of a 2-fight losing streak, both to KO, and Magomed has that knockout power. Rakic, he could stay in it on the ground, and he has went to the distance plenty of times. He could stay in those down and dirty fights, and Magomed is definitely going to bring that to him. I do think Magomed has a lot better of a grappling arsenal. He could really has a lot more ways to finish him, but I do think it is going to be a little bit of a tough fight, going to be close, but I'm going to go with Magomed here. Robert Whittaker versus Khamzat Chimaev. Robert Whittaker, he's been here before. He's done this. He's a former champion. Khamzat, yes, he's had his dominant performances, but his last fight was against Kamaru Usman, and it was close. Had it been a 5-round fight, Khamzat could have come out of that as a loser, but Khamzat, he takes too much time in between fights, and Robert Whittaker stays sharp. This guy, he is a very well-rounded fighter. He has a great takedown defense, and he has the power. I do think in a 5-round fight, I think Robert Whittaker has got this one. Heading on over to our main event, Ilia Topuria versus Max Holloway. Topuria has been dominant. He won the championship by knocking Alexander Volkanovski out. That was Volkanovski's only loss in the UFC at that division. And Max Holloway has lost to Volkanovski 3 times. But I do think this is going to be a exciting matchup. Max Holloway has never been knocked down in his life, and he's a good, well-rounded fighter as well as Ilia Topuria. It's going to be close, but I think Ilia has a little bit of an edge on him. He really wants it. I think he wants to cement himself, and he wants to really make a name for himself in this division. He has his little at-home gym now. He's really taking this serious. I think he's a great fighter. I'm going with Ilia here. I just want to talk a little bit about the Lakers. They had their season debut. They got their win against the Timberwolves. I think JJ Redick is going to be great for the Lakers here. I'm not going to lie. I had my doubts at first, but seeing him coach last night, he he really encouraged this team. He gave this team a lot of confidence, and that's what they really needed. Last year, we would see them be up big time, and then we'd see them lose their leads, end up losing the game, losing their confidence, and ultimately stop shooting. And last night, we heard it so many times. JJ said, keep shooting, stay confident. And they did. They almost lost the lead there for a second, but they kept them in it. JJ had that mentality, and they ended up getting the win. I do think JJ is going to be great for this organization. It could take some time. I know this roster, I think, still has holes, and I still don't think this is a championship contending team. I think they could be, but they have their holes they need to fix. They got to get a rhythm going, and it might take some time, but I do think the Lakers do have that potential, and I think JJ has the potential to be a great coach. People had their doubts, but I'm excited to see this season of the Lakers. Heading over on, I got a little parlay for you guys. I made a parlay for the NFL Week 8, so you don't have to. Starting off with Kenneth Walker touchdown. As a Bills fan, I'm not excited for this, but our rush defense has been horrible. I'm going to have him taking a touchdown here. Jordan Love, 2+ passing touchdowns. The Jags secondary has been awful. They have let up the most passing touchdowns so far this season. I'm going with him, 2+ passing touchdowns. And then the Falcons -2.5. I know they beat the Bucks already this season. I had them splitting originally. But with Mike Evans out, Chris Godwin out, they don't have anybody to throw the ball to. It's going to be hard for them to stay in it. And the Falcons defense is no slouch. Give me them -2.5 to turn $25 into $120. That's all for this episode. Just a little mini episode for this. Tune in next week for another full episode of the Tailgate Sports Podcast.